Good morning. Sorry I'm a minute late. I do apologize for that. Things were a little topsy-turvy. We were supposed to have a guest today, but now it looks like we're not going to have a guest today. So I had to redo things to prepare for not having a guest today. And, yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. What's up, Lance? How are you? Hello, Jeffrey. Hello, Frederick. What's up, Jennifer? I hope everyone... So we're going to have... The good news is, I don't know if you guys heard me, but you share me... The best way to share an article, Andre, is to tweet it at me, at @RonPlacone. Tweet it at me, and use the hashtag GetYourNewsOnWithRon. Hashtag GetYourNewsOnWithRon. So, guys, I was saying we were supposed to have a guest today, but then things got a little topsy-turvy. We're not having a guest today. But the good news about that is that we can have a Music Monday. And Daniel, thank you for the compliment on my Operation Ivy t-shirt. I got this t-shirt yesterday at a place called One Look Vintage in Huntington Beach, which is a must-stop. If you're in Huntington Beach, I really love this store. I just discovered it for the first time yesterday, but it's a really fun store. What's up, Edwin? How are you? And according to Joseph, we are at 30. It looks lower on my end, but you guys get it faster than I do for whatever reason. Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. I am Ron Placone. I am your host. It is Music Monday. We almost were going to not have a Music Monday because we were going to have a special guest today. But the guest ended up not being able to do it. So... that's how it goes. That's why sometimes I don't announce guests until right at the time. Because you never know what something's going to... Especially with the nature of this show, where it's like we're going live and that's it. You never know when things might change in real time. So anyway, so it's Music Monday. And guys, here's a Music Monday topic that I've kind of been waiting on. And that is... Beto O'Rourke. Now keep in mind, Beto O'Rourke used to be in a punk band with one of the dudes from At the Drive-In. Now, interestingly enough, the dude from At the Drive-In and Beto O'Rourke both ended up getting involved in money-making scams. The dude from At the Drive-In got involved with the Church of Scientology. Beto O'Rourke got involved with the Democratic Party. So, the question, what is the deal with Beto O'Rourke? I know a lot of people kind of say he is just a neo-lib. Some people say he's the real deal. Some people say he's not the real deal, but our alternative is Ted Cruz. Some people don't know where they're at. So I thought that for Music Monday, we got to talk about that which is Beto O'Rourke. And, if you have the punk rock ethics, how do you end up kind of becoming establishment like that? If he is. Luther points out that they were for Sema Hernandez. I like Sema Hernandez too. Jordan pointed out that At the Drive-In played in one of the worst reunion shows I've ever seen. You know what? I saw At the Drive-In earlier this year, and they tore it up. They were awesome. So I don't know. I don't know when you saw them, Jordan, but I saw them, and I really, really enjoyed them. But I thought a fun Music Monday. What's the deal with Beto O'Rourke? What's the deal with Beto O'Rourke? Is he a progressive? Is he a corporatist? Does he even know? Has he lost his punk rock ethics? Why am I talking like this? Some punk rockers are right-wing. I don't understand that, but it is a thing. Be like, Beto, that punk rocker's in there somewhere. Support single payer. Right? But I know some people are convinced by it. I mean, I have not looked into a ton about him personally, so I don't really have, like, strong, definitives one way or another. But I know some of my friends in Texas, at first they were all about him, and they wanted me to do a benefit for him. They're like, will you come out here to do a benefit for Beto O'Rourke? And I say, you know, I've heard mixed things about Beto O'Rourke. I don't know if he's a real deal progressive or not. And for me personally, I'm very careful to loan my, you know, to do a actual benefit for a certain candidate. You know, I'd rather do something for a cause. You know, I'd rather do a benefit show for municipal internet, or do a benefit show for Black Lives Matter, or do a benefit show for homelessness, or do a benefit show for an anti-fracking group, or do a benefit show for a Fight for 15 activist group. You know, you get the idea. I'd rather do a benefit show for a cause than a particular candidate, unless it's somebody I'm really, really convinced by. You know, I would do a benefit for Gail McLaughlin. I would do a benefit for Maria Estrada. I would do a benefit for Nina Turner. All right, you get the idea. I just keep giving all these for instances. So I kind of said, look, I'm still kind of learning about Beto O'Rourke. I don't know, you know, enough about him yet. Obviously, I'm sure, you know, the alternative is Ted Cruz. So he is certainly preferable to Ted Cruz. But as far as me going as far as doing an actual benefit for him, I would need to learn a little more. And then that same person that asked me to do the benefit for Beto O'Rourke later emailed me, and they're like, he's a total corporatist. So I don't know. I think the verdict on Beto is still out. But he used to be a big punk rocker. This should be somebody that we know, without a doubt, is in our corner. And some of you are saying in the chat, you too cannot believe that right-wing punk rockers are a thing. It is a thing. I mean, it's certainly far away from any of the messages in earlier punk rock. It's certainly far away from anything Joe Strummer taught us. It's certainly far away. I mean, I guess you could kind of take it in a libertarian direction as far as like, oh, we're doing it ourselves and we don't need anybody. I mean, I can see how you could take it down that path a little bit. But even still, like all the messages, all the social messages of equality, of anti-racism, you know, that's very far from the right. And then somebody brought up Jello Biafra. Jello's a big lefty. And I think, is it Johnny Ramone that was the Republican, Jessica? One of the Ramones was in fact a Republican, but it was only one of them, and it probably happened after they made money. One of them that got money decided. Okay, Steven points out it was Johnny and Tommy. I thought it was only one, so it was two of the Ramones. But they didn't sing about politics, though. I mean, the Ramones, they were not. I mean, they had a few. The only song I can think of that was kind of overtly political was when they talked about how much they hated talking about politics. That song, you know, something that makes me sick. It's when someone tries to tell me about politics. Now I'm getting a copyright strike. Damn it. Damn it. And by the way, a lot of you guys are mentioning Jello. I have reached out to Jello. I've not heard back from him. But I have reached out to Jello about doing this show. So, isn't Johnny Rotten all about Trump now? I do not know one way or another, but I'm one of those people. I'm not into Johnny Rocket. Johnny Rocket. Wow. I'm still waking up, folks. Johnny Rotten. I think the Sex Pistols in many ways were the monkeys of that era in the sense that they were created. And, yeah. So, I mean, I like some of the Sex Pistols music. I respect them for what they were. But I will take the Dead Kennedys. I will take the Ramones. I will take the Clash. I will take the Cure any day of the week. Russian Bolt is a progressive jazz musician. But, so anyway, I guess, what are your guys' thoughts on Beto O'Rourke? Give me your thoughts on Beto O'Rourke. And, given the fact that he was an old-timey punk rocker, shouldn't we be, not old-timey, but you know what I mean, shouldn't we be totally convinced by him? Shouldn't we be, you know... Jonathan, don't be dissing the Sex Pistols. Look, they have a credit card now. You know, I like the Pistols music, but as far as putting them up with the Clash, I'm not sold. I mean, you know, I get it. Some people prefer the Pistols. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm more of a Clash guy. Joseph points out that he sent a Beto clip where he mentions Joe Kennedy when talking about who should be a leader of the Democratic Party. And Edwin points out Beto supports strengthening the ACA. Whatever that means. We don't even know what that means. Strengthening the ACA. I mean, what does that mean? The ACA is the policy it is. It still leaves about 30 million people left uninsured. How do you strengthen it? You know how you strengthen it? You make it single payer. That's how you strengthen the ACA. So these people that, oh, we're going to strengthen the ACA, that's our concern right now. That's just word salad, verbal diarrhea. That's what that is. It makes no sense. We're going to strengthen this flawed policy. This policy that was meant to keep the insurance companies at the table. It's Mitt Romney's plan. Is it better than the nothing we had? Yes, but it still wasn't what we needed. The way to strengthen the ACA, quote unquote, would have been to have the public option in there in the first place. Because then we'd be that much closer to single payer. So whenever somebody says strengthen the ACA, that's code for I want to do the right thing about healthcare, but I won't support single payer because my donors don't want it. So don't be fooled. And if that's the camp Beto's in, then yeah, he's just another neoliberal. And I totally understand completely if you're going to say, well, my other option is Ted Cruz, so I'd love to see this guy pick off Ted Cruz. I'm with you. I'd love to see Ted Cruz get picked off too. It would be huge. But, you know, I guess the verdict's still out. I mean, some people are convinced by him, some people not so much. I mean, it would be punk rock if he kind of played the game doing the neoliberal thing and then when he got elected took the gloves off. That would be pretty freaking punk rock. But I'm surprised. You know, you'd think that a punk rocker would totally be somebody 100% in our corner. Somebody that but people change and people evolve. Fear supported Reagan. 2 of the Ramones. I thought it was only 1, but 2 of the Ramones are Republicans. Yeah. Samir says Beto equals Doug Jones. Jeesh. I hope it's not that bad. I don't know if it's... I don't know if he's that bad. I mean, Doug Jones... Yeah, I mean, Doug Jones... I don't know if he would... You know, based on... And again, I've been very clear that I'm still learning about Beto O'Rourke. And the point of me bringing him up was because of his punk rock background from Music Monday. But, based on what little exposure I've had, I doubt he would vote with Trump the way Doug Jones has. I don't think he'd be... I mean, you might be right, but I don't know if he'd be a Doug Jones. And then Dana points out, I just want Ted Cruz out. I get it. No, I totally get it. Magnetic Perturbation, Henry Rollins. Trying to get Henry on this show, too. That's another person I've reached out to. And, you know, Henry Rollins has said some things as of recent that have surprised me a little bit. Not in a good way. But, you know, one thing I will say for Henry is that Henry is still of the cloth that try to do something positive in your backyard, which is the cloth I'm cut from too, where try to do something positive in your backyard. So we do have that in common. Any news from Justin Sane? Oh man, I know Justin a little bit because we're both from Pittsburgh, so we've hung out a couple times. I don't know if he'd remember my name. I don't even know if he'd recognize me because this was like 7 years ago, and I was 70 pounds heavier than I am now. Well, not quite 70, but I was significantly heavier than I am now. So I don't even know if he would recognize me if he saw me, Justin Sane. But Justin would be a fantastic guest on this show. And Jilly, Justin said that's his nickname. It's it's on purpose. His real name is I forget his real last name, but yeah. Anyway, Justin from Anti-Flag. He would be a great guest. I gotta try to get him on. I will look into that. Thank you for the suggestion. Yeah. All right. Oh, and by the way, we do have one music suggestion. We'll go over there before we jump into other stuff you guys have sent today on this lovely Music Monday. And here it is. It's a classic, but Tim wanted us to have a reminder. Boom! You know it. You love it. Bulls on Parade. Rage Against the Machine. Revisit it. Get some aggression out. And realize that they had these messages a long time ago and they're still relevant today. They're still relevant today. Did I ever tell my Jim Keedy story? So one more Music Monday story. So Jim Keedy, a lot of you guys know Jim Keedy. He's a progressive in New Jersey who got screwed over hard, by the way. He would have made an excellent congressperson. I really like Jim Keedy a lot. I think he'd make an excellent politician. He exposed a lot about Nike, made a documentary about it. He stood up to authority in the past. He stood up to Chris Christie. He's a good progressive, even though we do have some small differences in policy ideas. But he's a great progressive. I would vote for him in a heartbeat if I could, if I was in his district. But he got screwed over in his district. And so anyway, he's come to our studio a couple times, and he's kind of like a very, just a very straight shooter guy. Like he was a college athlete, and he's a really nice guy. Like he's a warm dude, but he's very like, hello, how are you? How is everything going? Like that's just his personality, and it works for him. Like he's still very approachable and likable on camera, but that's sort of like how he is. And he was in our studio, and I was just our studio at the Jimmy Dore Show, and I was just prepping some stuff. And then Steph, the miserable liberal, comes out, and she goes, "Ron, come here. You got to hear this." And I go out there, and Jim Keedy's just sitting there having a coffee or whatever, and he goes, "Ron, Stephanie said that you would be impressed by this. After our interview, I am going to meet my friend Tom from Rage Against the Machine." He was going to hang out with Tom Morello, and they're like buddies. And he like said it in such like a proper way. Like he was like, I thought you would be impressed by this. My amigo, Tom Morello from Rage Against. And I was like, that's really cool, man. Yeah, that's really neat. And I kind of wanted to invite myself, but I didn't. I was like, oh, like after the interview, well, I'd be like, oh, we going? Are we? You want me to drive, bro? I mean, I know that I live here. So I know the city. I could save you some miles on the rental car. I'll tag along. We had other shooting to do, so I didn't get to go. But it was just funny. Anyway, he's a great guy, Jim Keedy. I've never met Tom Morello. I'd imagine he's a great guy too. But yeah. Anyway, I hope that was a fun story. All right, let's go on to stuff. I love Music Mondays, you guys. I love our Music Mondays. They make me so happy. Let's see here. I don't know why I did that. I do not do a good Southern accent. I don't know if any of my accents are good, to be totally honest with you. All right, this is from Celeste. Let me go ahead and give this a Get Your News On with Ron retweet. And, you know, it'll be slow and awkward. The retweet, that is, not the article. The article's going to be awesome. And we got some music news, too, so we'll be bouncing around. But I'll just kind of go in order. You know how it goes. There we go. Sarah Sanders' misguided call to action has the opposite effect. This is... Look at how sad and confused she looks. This is... Wow. I almost feel sorry for her. Almost. I mean, she just... I mean, how can she take any of this shit seriously? Like, well, I guess in a way she doesn't. She looks like she's just saying, well, I mean, it's a job. That's like what she's saying. She's like, well, it's a job. Like, why did you get out of bed this much? Like, it's just what I have to do right now, okay? I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say. I have a family. This is where I'm at, all right? This is where I'm at. I get nice jewelry for doing this shit. I get a paycheck. I don't know. I don't know what else to do right now. I don't know who I am. I don't know where I am. This administration is like a circus. I was taught to believe in the American way. And I'll tell you what, if you had the peek under the hood that I've had, you would want to run as far away from electoral politics as possible. How is my Sarah Sanders impression, everybody? Do you think that's what's going on in her head? I mean, this is just me guessing. And I know she doesn't sound like me, you know. I mean, maybe she does. All right. Anyway, I would like to first give a shout out to her unwavering. All right, so that's this thing. So here's what she did. She tweeted out a call to action for all the people questioning the identity of the anonymous coward. So this is in regards to that New York Times op-ed, which again, we figured it out. It was either Andy Kaufman or it was, who were our other two guesses? Jim Morrison or Tupac's hologram. No one's proved me wrong yet. All right, so this anonymous coward who wrote the op-ed essay. In her tweets, he suggested that people wanting to know who wrote the essay should phone the New York Times and ask them, and included a number for them to call. All right, so what ended up happening? So how did this backlash? Isn't there some law against Sanders using an official White House account to encourage rabid fans and followers to disrupt the work of the Times? Ah, yes, the Code of Federal Regulation calls it misuse of position. Ah, so she did something she wasn't allowed to do. Ha ha. Oh, Sarah. That's pretty funny. So she wasn't allowed to do that, but she did. She's like, you guys call the New York Times and you tell them faux outrage and this is my job and brrr. And it's like, whoop, broke the law. She'll face no consequences. Are you kidding? They can't fire her or replace her. They're just happy to have that job occupied. That's what's going on there. But that's hilarious. How clueless she is. And I think that is a reflection of this entire administration. This is beyond a circus. And let's have some good news here. Because Celeste sent in a little bit of Music Monday-ness here. We'll go here next. Dave Grohl did something pretty cool. All right. Dave Grohl leaves huge money tip on a receipt at a bar. Dave Grohl recently went to the Rainbow Bar and Grill in Hollywood after a surprise Foo Fighters pop-up performance at the Cal Jam Festival. Grohl took photos and drank with fans at the bar, and he had quite the bill when he was done. His bill was $333.30, and he tipped $333, leaving a total after the tip of $666.30. Only Dave Grohl could find a way to get his bill to 666. Pure rock and roll. The number of the frickin' beast. Now, could he have taken it a step further and made it $666.66? What if he would have done that? Like made it 36 cents? See how quick I did that math? I'm pretty proud of that, actually. Well, that was nice of him. You know? I mean, that was nice of him. That was good. If you're famous and you have money, you should always leave a good tip, in my opinion. You know, you should always be as generous as you can be. But that was pretty cool of him. He's like, I'm going to make your day today. That's got to be pretty cool, having the money where you can make somebody's freaking week. Like that's got to feel so cool. Just knowing, like, you can make somebody's, like, hey, I just made your week because I'm going to tip you 100%. And maybe they're a fan, too. Like, maybe they're a fan, so you've already made their week because they're like, I'm a big fan of you. That's awesome. And you're like, boom, 100% tip. You know? That's pretty cool. I wish I could tip like that. Man, that's got to be amazing. So that's cool that he did that. That's cool that he did that. And I hope we get news when people do the opposite. We gotta get news when celebrities stiff people and stuff like that. I've heard rumors about different public figures, not musicians actually, but different public figures that have done that. I'm not gonna repeat it because I don't know if it's true or not, so I don't want to repeat like just kind of hearsay I heard. But you know, when I lived in Pittsburgh and a lot of my friends worked in the service industry, there were certain sports figures that allegedly did not tip. I don't know if that's true or not, so I don't want to repeat anything. But, you know, that was some hearsay that I heard. All right, so that's some nice news. Dave Grohl did something cool. I think he lives here in Los Angeles. And I know, like a lot of people, I like the Foo Fighters. I think they put on a great show. I'm a big Pat Smear fan. I know a lot of people, they can't get into the Foo Fighters. And I can see how someone wouldn't. I'm not, like, a huge fan. And their shows are very long. And I got to admit, like, once it hit about 2.5 hours, I was ready for it to end. You know, like, they had played every song I wanted to hear. And I was like, all right, I'm ready for you guys to kind of put a period on this. You know, there's something to say for leaving us wanting more a little bit. But it was a fantastic show. And to his credit, Dave Grohl, that was when he had the leg injury. So he was in like a Game of Thrones type chair the whole time. And he freaking rocked it anyway. So, and he sang great. And he was sitting down. And I have a harder time singing when I'm sitting down. I sing poorly when I'm standing up. And I sing more poorly when I'm sitting down. So anyway, you know. And this is from Joseph. Let's go to this Twitter thread. So this is a follow-up on Beto O'Rourke. When he asked about who the leader of the Democratic Party should be, he said Joe Kennedy. Seriously, Beto, you came up with Joe Kennedy? Beto doesn't even mention more progressive Democrats in office, like Tulsi Gabbard or Ro Khanna. Nope, progressive Democrats aren't meant to be leaders. Just Dems like Joe Kennedy. Joe Kennedy's so... Do you guys hear that? Something... I think they're sawing the door off my neighbor's apartment, apparently. Or something like that. Do you guys hear the saw? I think it's a saw. That's got to be what it is. Do you guys hear it, or do you guys just think I'm being weird right now? So that's another reason to be wary of Beto, Joe Kennedy. I'm going to the chat to see what you guys are saying. I wouldn't want Joe Kennedy to lead my bachelor party. Because honestly, he seems lame on so many levels. Like, I'd be like, hey, Joe, how's my bachelor party? And he's like, well, there's no marijuana because I'm not convinced it's safe. Like, you are so lame, Joe. And what's that all over your face? Do you want to borrow my chapstick? No, I don't. I don't want to borrow your chapstick. What's wrong with you? Why can't you apply that like a normal human being? Do you like Medicare for all, Joe? Next topic. What hotel room are we staying in? Joe, are you into Medicare for all? The party can't continue till you answer the question. I don't know if pot's okay or not. You are the most boring person on the planet. Why are you invited to this party? Why are you planning my bachelor? Because you said you'd rather... Yeah, I know. Why did I walk into this trap? Joe Kennedy will not be planning my bachelor party. And he sucks. He shouldn't be... he shouldn't be leading anything. All right. So thank you for that, Joe. Ooh, this is from Jennifer. And this is this looks like some more good news in a way. Good news in a sense, right? Is that fair? What do you think, Jennifer? Is that accurate? So more people are going on strike, basically. That's why I say good news in a sense. Because it's good news that it's happening. It's bad in the sense that we have to do that. You know what I mean? Like, it sucks. We have to go on strike. U.S. workers are striking again. Halfway through the year, the number of large strikes in the U.S. is at the highest level in decades. Reasonably so. It should be. And that's me drinking coffee, by the way. Coffee will not go on strike. It can't. In the 1980s, there was a phrase used to describe... All right, I don't want to hear the follow-up verbiage. I'm just not into it. All right, U.S. labor relations have never been cordial. Okay. So this is the average number of annual work stoppages by decades. So the number of large strikes overall has plummeted. I mean, look at this. And, interestingly enough, right around here, this is when labor was doing the best. What else do you guys need to know? And I've been saying it for a while now. We have to strike. And I know that, look, you don't have to remind me that I don't fall into this category of people that need to strike. I know that I don't fall into it. I know that. I also know that it's way easier said than done. The people that need to work 2 and 3 jobs just to put food on the table and are living paycheck to paycheck, I know it's hard. But what I'm saying is, we need more workers are striking, and that's a good thing. We need a massive strike in this country. We just do. Like, that's the only way we're going to have any workers' rights in this country. Because policy has already left us in the dust. What right to work is spreading more than unions are. Unions are dying. Right to work is growing. That tells you everything you need to know. So, yeah, we got to strike. People in the U.S. have to strike. It worked for the teachers. The prisoners are doing it. We need a massive strike. And yes, I know that's easier said than done. No, I don't know how to start something like that. And yes, I know I don't fall into that category. Whenever I bring this up, people like to remind me of that. That, well, you're a comedian, you don't fall into... Yeah, I know I don't. So what I'm saying is I want to help any way that I can by being a communication vessel. That's the biggest thing I could do to help, and I want to do that. I want to be available on these streams. I want to be available for people to coordinate in their neighborhoods. That would be my contribution. I know that I wouldn't be able to go on strike. I don't have a job, technically. I mean, like, I'm self-employed, so I do not have a job I could go on strike from. So I would be a communication vessel. Which sounds weird and oddly sexual. I will vessel for you. So yeah, more workers are striking. That's a good thing. Jennifer, thank you for sharing that. And I think that graph kind of shows us everything we need to know. When people would go on strike and people would stop, labor was treated right, or at least treated way better. Look at what happened in Germany. They went on strike. They have a 28.5-hour work week now. Look what happened in Spain. They have worker co-ops. Madrigon. I probably mispronounced that. Vinny, thank you for the compliment on the Op Ivy t-shirt, by the way. I got that. Again, I got this shirt yesterday at One Look Vintage in Huntington Beach. If you're in Huntington Beach, check out One Look Vintage. It's a really cool shop, and they got some really cool clothes there. And there was a sale going on t-shirts, so I got my girlfriend a David Bowie t-shirt, and I got myself this Op Ivy t-shirt. They were both in the same rack. So I got this for me, and I got the David Bowie t-shirt for her, because it was a really cute David Bowie t-shirt. And it was one of those shirts, it was, you know, it was just a general t-shirt, like it was totally not gender-specific. But it was sort of meant more for a girl, I feel like. You know, like I totally could have worn the shirt too, and it would have been fine. But it just looked better on her. It was just meant more for her, I felt like. So I bought it for her, and I'm like, I'm buying this for you. You're going to look cute in this. And she wasn't convinced. She was like, I don't think so. Both those shirts are just yours. And I was like, really? Then she tried it on, and she decided I was right. She's like, you're right. This is my shirt. I'm like, yeah. So that was fun. That was fun. I had a little beach day yesterday. Went over to Huntington Beach. Yeah. Beach days are really important in my life. Really, really freaking important. This is from Edwin. And Edwin is saying this is a live video of Jerry Brown making a major announcement. Alright, I'm not a big fan of doing videos on this, so I don't know if we'll watch the actual video, but let's see if we can see what's going on here for the major announcement. Alright, and the live video is not up at this time. So Edwin, if you have any info on what the major announcement was, maybe tweet something like that instead. Because yeah, this live video is not up. Let's see. See if we find anything. And all these are just frickin' videos. I just want an article about it. I don't want to... Yep, another video. I don't want a video on his major announcement. I just want what his major announcement is. So here it is. California approves goal for 100% renewable energy by 2045. They could have pushed it back a little more. Come on, 2045. They should have went for like 2098. Why not? Ahead of a summit this week meant to galvanize recent action on climate change, Governor Jerry Brown on Monday signed legislation that would put California on the path to eliminating fossil fuels from its energy sector. Yeah, by 2045. It might be too late by then. Senate Bill 100 speeds up the state's timeline for moving to renewable energy resources like solar and wind and requires all retail electricity to be generated from renewables by 2045. California is the second state to adapt such a goal after Hawaii. It's not going to be easy, but it must be done. All right. So, I really hope there's a lot of other things that Brown's going to be acting on as he's looking at legislation, one of them being net neutrality. Because, you know, it's really easy to get behind something like this. And I'm not saying that this policy is bad. Of course, it's good to commit to renewable energies, even though the timeline is a lot longer than I would like and that you would like. It's still at least a commitment. But it's very politically easy to make that commitment because it's a long time from now. And it's something that a state like California is going to have overwhelming support for. So, you know, as far as this being Brown doing some great thing, not necessarily. He's just doing something that he would have more problems if he resisted something like this than if he just went along with it. And even though he's not seeking, you know, he's not going to be seeking re-election, to my knowledge, he's still... All right, and let's see here. I got to give this, this is from E. Cruz. Got to give this a Get Your News On With Ron retweet. Oh, I already did it. All right. This is an opinion piece from David Sirota. Yes, let's wipe out Trump, but let's take neoliberal Democrats with him, too. I agree. A new wave of left-leaning Democrats are waging war on the party's corporate wing. After a scorching summer of discontent, Donald Trump's endless tweets, okay. Amid a surge of populist energy that has alarmed the Democratic establishment. See, this is what bothers me about the Democrats, right here. It's alarming, the Democratic establishment. So let's ask ourselves this question. Why is it alarming the Democratic establishment? Gee, populism is supposed to be what the Democrats stand for. All of these policy positions are overwhelmingly popular. And it's a good policy to oppose Trump on. Trump's health care plan takes health care away from millions who already have it. It is worse than the Affordable Care Act. Way worse. So our health care plan is single-payer health care, which completes our process and gives everybody health care. Our jobs plan involves renewable energy and green jobs and infrastructure, stuff this country so desperately needs. And Trump wants to privatize it, which would pad the pockets of his friends and get it done in a less efficient way, if at all. We want to bring about living wages. Trump wants to bring about right to work. So why is it alarming the Democratic establishment that this populist energy is here? Maybe because they don't have any interest in being a progressive party. Maybe because at the establishment level, they're just interested in making the donors happy by parroting right-wing ideas and by being just a less severe version of the Republicans. In which case, they are not in opposition to the Republicans, nor are they a political party. They're a scam and a grift. So the fact that this sentence is true is all you need to know the Democratic establishment is a scam. That's just definitionally what it is. It's not a more incremental approach. It's a scam. What is fighting back against this scam? This right here. A new wave of left-leaning insurgents have been using Democratic primaries to wage a fierce war on the party's corporate wing. And as in the past presidential primary battles, many Democratic consultants, politicians, and pundits have insisted the party must prioritize unity and resist grassroots pressure to support a more forceful progressive agenda. Shut up and take our scraps. That's what this is code for. Shut up and take your scraps. Now, here's what's interesting. Not surprisingly, much of that analysis comes from those with career stakes in the status quo. So let's sum that up in more simple terms. The Democratic establishment is nothing more than a scam. Progressives are realizing that, and they're trying to do a number of things. Some are dementoring to try to hijack the party. Some are trying to take a different course altogether. Some are exploring different parties. Some are kind of not even really focusing on the electoral end of things and are trying to focus on causes and actions locally. Some are doing a little bit of everything. And the people that focus on this incrementalist message and focus on this idea that the Dems are actually in opposition are the people whose paychecks depend on them parroting that message. Their paychecks depend on them giving relevancy to the establishment political parties in this country. And I shouldn't plural that. It should be one political party, because that's basically what we have. We have one party, it's the money party. And the people who make it out, you have to follow the money. If somebody's relevancy relies on MSNBC, they're going to parrot a certain agenda because they have to. Their paycheck is dependent on it. That's why I like being a comedian, because I don't have to pretend there's some relevancy in this system, and I don't. I come from the angle that there is not any. This system does not deserve to be propped up. It does not deserve to be celebrated. It does not deserve to be given intellectual relevancy to. It deserves to be exposed, criticized, and mocked. And as a comedian, I get to do that. And I have no interest in doing anything else. Ever. So, cool opinion piece by David Sirota, and that's pretty much the cliff notes of it. All right, this is from Tony, and I don't even know what this is from Tony. I don't even know. So let's see what Tony's talking about. What do you got, Tony? Aw, dude. Yeah, a little bit of music to end. This will be our last story. Then I'll go to the chat. Then we're signing off. Thank you guys for a fun show. Sorry the guest didn't work out. Although you guys didn't even know we were supposed to have a guest. Because I didn't announce it. Because I had a feeling there was a good chance it wasn't going to work out. It was like a last minute thing. They wanted to get something in before voting, and yeah, anyway. Why a dead Kennedy's punk isn't buying Google's privacy deals. All right. Google had its bad day in Washington, but it's not out of the mosh pit yet. The Alphabet Inc. unit still has unresolved privacy lawsuits, including one from 2010 over the mining of Wi-Fi data. Okay. Such donations are common when it's impractical to distribute small or even minuscule payouts to giant groups of consumers. But East Bay Ray Papperell, the guitarist from the Dead Kennedys, and David Lowry, the lead singer from Camper Van Beethoven, say the internet behemoth has perverted the process to serve its own interest. The rock and rollers have teamed up to try to convince the highest court that Google has a shadow agenda when it funnels millions of dollars to nonprofit advocacy groups in the name of promoting privacy protection instead of paying cash directly to the victim of its intrusions. The problems, Papperell and Lowry say, is that groups like Google likes to support, including the EFF, are hostile to copyright protection issues that matter to artists. It allows the company to secretly funnel money to a nonprofit, obtain a charitable tax deduction for that portion of the class action settlement, and seed the public messaging landscape with reliable allies who support its anti-intellectual property protection campaigns. In a brief filed Wednesday, EFF said the awards aren't secret, and in fact it may share certain viewpoints with the donor, doesn't undermine the benefit of the donation for class members. The organization also said it doesn't hesitate to criticize Google's practices and that its positions are based on its own policies independent of any company from whom it receives funding. You know, I think that the EFF is a good organization. And David Lowery, I'll say this about him. I like some of what he has to say about digital rights and about royalties and about how artists are getting screwed over. However, I think some of his theories are misdirected. And one that I'll point to in particular, he is very, very anti-net neutrality. And we've actually tweeted back and forth about it. And I'm a fan. I have seen Camper Van Beethoven twice. I've seen Cracker once. I like David Lowery's music a lot. And overall, I like a lot of what he has to say. I disagree with some of it. He is against progressive policies. Obviously, I am not. And he's against net neutrality. Obviously, I am not. Now, I'd be curious where he lands on municipal internet. However, I consider those two issues more linked than not linked. No pun intended with the word linked. Now, David Lowery, because he sees these actions from Google as objectionable, and in many ways they are, he takes that a step further and says, well, that's why we shouldn't have net neutrality. Net neutrality just assures a free and open playing field on the internet, and we do need to have other policies to break up these big behemoths, but that doesn't mean to be against net neutrality. Without net neutrality, Google would still kind of have a heyday. They would just maybe need to ante up a little more for it. But you know who else would need to ante up for it? Everybody, including those that don't have the resources to do so. So these problems that David Lowery and Papardelle from the Dead Kennedys point out are in fact problems. Demonizing net neutrality, or the EFF, is not a way to solve those problems. You're kind of going against an ally in that case, I think. But it is cool they're being outspoken about actions by Google. It is cool that they're being outspoken in favor of the artists, and I agree with a lot of what they have to say. Some of their conclusions, though, I do think are misdirected. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. And that's how we're going to end today. Cracker's collaboration with Leftover Salmon was awesome. I am not familiar with that. You should tweet me a link so I can check it out. Ron, I heard you appear in San Antonio. May I get a chance to send my family the address, time, date with a family discount? I'm back from San Antonio. I do have a date coming up in Austin, Texas on November 10th. So if you're in Texas, Renee, come on out on November 10th to Austin, Texas. And tickets are available at Romplicon. I guess I'll do housekeeping real quick here. Tour dates, romplicon.com, November 2nd, Sacramento, California. November 3rd, San Francisco, California. November 10th, Austin, Texas. November 23rd, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And tickets aren't available quite yet, but they'll be available soon. January 11th. It's a long time off, but January 11th, Orlando, Florida, and we're working on a Florida run. Graham Elwood and I are. So if you know any venues in Jacksonville, Miami, Tampa, let me know, because we're booking our Florida run now. The one we got confirmed already, January 11th in Orlando. Romplicon.com for all tickets. Quick aside, Santa Barbara. The Santa Barbara show has been canceled, but we are looking into rescheduling it. So if anyone got tickets to Santa Barbara, please do get those refunded. Yeah, we're looking into rescheduling that. Austin, yeehaw, yeah. Steven, I don't have a Twitter, but I'll post on Reddit. Pam Ryan, Ron, come to Manchester, England. Pam, I will be in Manchester, England on October 18th, and I'm hoping to find a spot somewhere. I will be, I'll be in Manchester on October 18th. I'm coming to the UK and Ireland. I'm mostly going on vacation, but I am going to be doing some spots around town. So, yeah. And Daniel, let me... So Daniel just saw this on his phone, everybody. Check this out. This is kind of cool. Hold on. Boom. The Google Devil, huh? Check it out. Devil horns. You want to search? You're searching the number of the beast. That's from Daniel's phone. And it just kind of turned out like that. Or he made it himself. Will always be left to wonder. Come to Ventura instead, Chemo says. Maybe. Maybe. What are the requirements for you to do a house gig in Santa Cruz County? Steven, email me and we'll get the ball rolling. Email me and we'll get the ball rolling on that. And RonPlacone.com, best place to email me. Because I would love to come to Santa Cruz and I would love to do a house show. And I'm currently booking house shows for the upcoming year. Dwayne, I'll see you in Orlando and I'm stoked for it. Tickets will be available real soon. Mr. Broken Nas, have you talked to Tim Black about coming on? Tim Black has done this show before, and I would love to have him back. I love Tim. I know Tim recently said some really nice things about Jimmy Dore and myself, which I appreciate very much. Tim's a great colleague, very great guy. So, yeah. Any cool interviews coming up, Ron? Marcus wants to know. Yes. We are going to have Scott Wiener on the show soon. I don't have a date locked in yet, but we're going to have Scott Wiener on the show soon to discuss net neutrality and municipal broadband. We're also going to have a couple activists who put together some municipal broadband in their areas. They're not too keen on doing live appearances, so we're trying to figure out how to get this information to you guys. And to me, quite frankly. So I'm still working on that. In the meantime, I got to go help saw a door down outside, as you hear. I got to go work on that. So yeah, we got some cool stuff coming up. We got some activists coming up. We got some people in office coming up that are doing some good things as far as local statewide bills go. Yeah. And you know the drill. Yep, they're trying to saw into my apartment, you guys. I gotta hide. We are totally out of time. I love you all very much. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up. We will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. You know the drill. This has been Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. Thank you for an awesome Music Monday. I wore this shirt for Music Monday. And thank you for the compliments on it. It's brand new, so I appreciate it. I love you all very much. Stay safe. Peace. Oh my God. It just scared Lucy. She was sleeping and the saw freaked her out. She perked up. She's like, what the hell is that? I was just sleeping to the lovely, lovely tones of your babbling, Ron. And then this thing. Here, let her say hi. She'll come over and say hi. Lucy, you gotta come say hi real quick. Come here, sweetums. Come here. I know. Yeah. Say hi, everybody. Hello, everybody. Patreon.com/RonPlacone if you want to support this show and the sustainability. And for a pay-what-you-can level, you get all kinds of cool stuff. Goodbye. Some of you guys have mentioned, I know I posted a picture. Some of you have mentioned that she might be a little stressed. And I appreciate that. I appreciate your feedback. She has a little patch, and she's always kind of had that under her eye. She has a little bit of a bald patch. She's just always had that for like her whole life. But it does look like she gets stressed out whenever I leave for the road. And it wasn't always this way. But in the past year or so, whenever I leave, she gets real stressed out, and it's obvious. Then when I come back, she's fine again. It didn't used to be that way. She was used to me like traveling so much that it just didn't bother her. But now, maybe because I travel less, or maybe because she's getting a little older, I don't know. But she gets really stressed out right before I go on the road. Like she can tell, and there's not much I can do about that. So yeah, thank you guys. Thank you, Andrew, for sending me that stuff. I might try to get some calming things for her. Anyway, I'm babbling about cats now. Show's over. I love you all very much. This is me, Get Your News On with Ron. You know the drill. See you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Peace.